Today was the second day of training on the Strong Physiques program, one-line program for guys trying to build muscle and strength. And the key lifts today were front squats and bench press. We've just started a new block, so it's the highest volume phase. So it was sets of 12 on front squat and sets of 10 on bench at 65 and 70%. And then the last set is to failure. And I'm really enjoying this last set to failure. I got the idea from Greg Knuckles, who uses it in some of his programs, and I like it for a few reasons. Firstly, my bias is people don't train hard enough, and by doing a set to failure, it does a couple of things. Firstly, it educates you about how many more you had left. So, and I made this mistake myself. I underestimated my one rep max here. So my 65% off of an estimated 140 max was 95. And I ended up getting 19 reps in my last set. So all of these first three sets here are 7 reps short of failure, which is probably too far from failure to get the most effect from the training. And I know people debate the effective rep thing, and Chris Beardsley's posted about, you have to be 2 or 3 reps short of failure to get a good training stimulus for hypertrophy, but I don't necessarily agree with that, but you definitely do need to be closer to failure than what most people train, in my opinion. So once I get this first week out the way and I've got all of my estimated one rep maxes for the key lifts, I feel like the training's going to get a lot more challenging, and I'm still going to cap it at 4 exercises per session, because when you do these first 2 key lifts really well, it takes a long time, like to psychologically to get up for that set with as many reps as possible. It takes me about 20-30 minutes per exercise to get through the 3 working sets and the last set of reps to failure. So yeah, and then after that, a couple of accessories, and I feel like if you do that properly, that's all of the volume you can get in a session without sacrificing on the intensity. So I'm going to keep with that programming structure for now. This last set of squats I posted on my Instagram feed earlier, and I got a couple of comments. One was about this squat's not proper because I'm using a squat ramp, and I used to say the exact same thing, like, oh, you've got a deficit in your ankle mobility, and you should fix that instead of just raising your heels to get around it. And it took me a good couple of years to get that out of my head and come round to this way of thinking. And I started using the ramp again because I was getting this knee pain. But like now, when I look back at that, and when I used to say the same thing, I just think like how stupid it is. It literally makes no sense at all. Like, why is raising your heels cheating? But it seems to be like a really common thing people say, and myself included. And yeah, like I said, it makes no sense. Like, if you're struggling to hit good squat depth and you want to squat deep, then just raise your heels. It makes it a hell of a lot easier, and it's going to save you a lot of time trying to work around improving ankle mobility. You don't even need that much ankle mobility to squat deep, and I've posted about this as well before. Like, part of the reason you can squat deeper when you raise your heels is because it shifts your centre of mass backwards, and our movement strategy is based around not wanting to fall forwards. So by keeping your centre of mass further back, and again using a front squat versus a back squat does the same thing. It shifts your centre of mass back, so it stays within your base of support, so you feel like you're not going to fall over, and that's where you can squat deeper. You don't actually need that much ankle mobility to squat deep if you can keep your centre of mass back. Um, and like, you can play around with this for yourself in the gym. Like, if you hold out a plate in front of you, again, that's going to shift your centre of mass back, and you're going to find it super easy to sit down into a deep squat um, without needing that much ankle mobility. But anyway, yeah, I might post about that again in the future. And then these same, I'm just going to get this rant out of the way. Like, these same people will have no issue with putting on a pair of weightlifting shoes. And you're doing the same thing. You've got a heel wedge. But anyway, and the second comment I had was, if you keep squatting like that, you're going to need a knee replacement in a year or whatever. And it amazes me, like, one of the gyms that I PT at in town, I get a few people that come to classes and they're really scared about squatting knees over toes. And it amazes me that it's still like 2022 and people are still saying these things. There's no evidence to show that squatting deep is going to be damaging to your knees in the long term. And I'm going to make a separate video on this just to go over the history of it, and the initial research that was done in like the 50s and 60s that showed that squatting heavy and squatting deep does put a lot of stress on, or force on the knee, I should say, but that's a good thing. It's just going to strengthen the muscles around the knee, and in the long term, it's going to lead you to having healthier and stronger knees than if you didn't squat heavy or deep. But anyway, yeah, I'm going to go into more detail on that in a separate video, I think, just to collect all my thoughts and put together a better rationale for why it's not bad for you. Anyway, so squats went really well. They're still feeling really comfortable. And I'm still getting no knee pain, so really happy. My knees actually feel great. And I feel like the weights are going to keep on going up week on week. My bench press didn't feel as good today, so I did sets of 10 on 100 previously, but didn't get many reps on my set to failure. So I dropped down to 97.5 today. And again, I still only got a set of 10 on my last set, or it might have even been 9. I might have missed a rep. So I'm going to maybe even drop down again. And then after that, just the two accessories today were seated dumbbell shoulder press and leg extension. Yeah, and that was the session today. Took me about 70 minutes in the end. But yeah, I think it took me 50 minutes to get through those first two exercises, and then 20 minutes to get through the couple of accessories, which I ended up supersetting. Because I had to get to work afterwards. But yeah, that was today's session. I'm going to be making those videos later on this week about squatting deep and is it bad for your knees. And yeah, I'll probably upload that on Wednesday or Thursday. And I'm going to keep these training vlogs coming, so stay tuned if you want to follow my progress, and if you want to get involved in the training program that we're doing, send me a message and I can look to get you signed up.